Hello Matthew.
Hello Leo.
What are the challenges for different age groups in learning English?
So I'll start off with the youngest age group, those of 7, 8 years old who are working towards that 9+. Fundamentally with those students, the main challenges are improving their level of basic English, making sure their comprehension skills are improving, making sure their vocabulary, spelling and punctuation. That would be our focus for that particular age group, punctuation being paramount to the English language. And I appreciate that there are some quite significant differences between punctuation, capital letters, etc. between English and Chinese. And as such, that is one of those areas that Chinese students do struggle a lot with to begin with. Moving on into those students who are kind of 9 years old, 10 years old, working towards that 11+ bracket. What we have to do with students of this age group is start to work on their comprehension skills and their creative writing skills. From a comprehension point of view, it is starting to select evidence from a text, starting to look at the meanings of words, the effects of words, why an author has chosen to write something a particular way, what is the effect of that, how does that make the reader feel. Moving on from that into kind of summarising skills, looking at use of synonyms. From a creative writing point of view, what we're looking at for 11+ is fundamentally vocabulary, sentence structure and figurative language. Moving on from writing those basic yet grammatically correct sentences into ambitious sentences with varied punctuation, ambitious vocabulary and equally importantly, varied figurative language, not just being content to put in a metaphor or a simile, but looking at pathetic fallacy, looking at personification, looking at why that's pair, which links quite nicely into the 13+. That's students of that 11 and 12. Fundamentally, what they're doing for the 13+ is not massively dissimilar to 11+, but it is harder. Rather than having lots and lots of short questions worth 2, 3, 4 marks, for 13+ on the comprehension side of things, it's moving into mini essay-based questions worth 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 marks, using primarily a technique called point evidence analysis, where students make a point about a text, they provide some evidence, normally in the form of a quotation, and most importantly they start to analyse language, looking at its effects, looking at why a writer has chosen to write something in a particular way, looking at how a writer has used figurative language and what the overall effect of that is. From a creative writing point of view, 13+ extends the students, whereas 11+ is primarily focusing on writing a story, a narrative, or a piece of descriptive writing. 13+ broadens it up. Students could be asked, for example, to write a speech, an article, or other types of non-fiction writing. Now, everything I've already said is equally applicable to GCSE English. Fundamentally, from GCSE English divided into two sides, English literature and English language. In an English literature point of view, I would say one of the biggest challenges to EAL students is Shakespeare. Ultimately, the vast majority of EAL students I've worked with can access the English language brilliantly. They can get to come to grips very easily with an English novel, with poetry and with modern drama. But the problem comes with Shakespeare. And that's not dissimilar from a lot of English students, because the vocabulary Shakespeare using is 400 years old. Older than 400 years old ultimately, and as such it's almost, for an English student, it's a translation exercise almost between Shakespearean English to modern English, but for a Chinese student it's almost a three-way translation exercise, and I can appreciate the challenges of that massively. From an English language perspective, a lot of the skills that are used on the 13+ exam are equally applicable to that GCSE course. Fundamentally, the main difference between, let's say, 13+ English and GCSE English language is quantity of writing and time spent in the exam. Whereas previously they might have had to write 1 or 2 paragraphs, suddenly that 1 or 2 paragraphs will become 5 or 6, will become a proper essay, as it were. And similarly, a piece of creative writing that might have been 1, 2 or 3 paragraphs long becomes 4 or 5 paragraphs long. It starts needing more of a structure rather than just excellent content.
Thank you very much, Matthew.
Not at all.